Got my camera at a weird angle for us. Meeting is being live streamed. Be nice if you could see me though. Let's try that again. I'm gonna move it. Don't get dizzy if you're a dizzy person like me. I get dizzy whenever I get on here. Okay. Mute my mic. All right. Hopefully you're only getting me here because I know hubby is on a meeting and one of his coworkers has a tendency to get somewhat loud. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Lori. And how are you all today? Two of my biggest fans preparing down here. I made this morning and I thought I would do one on video. I have an ASMR version for those of you who are into that. My hair, Esmeralda, is just doing her own thing today. So how is everybody? I'm actually pretty good. I have got a couple of things. I've got a couple of those little blocks from the, hi Gay, how are you? Got a couple of those little blocks that I've been making with the Baby Basics ruler that I showed you guys last week or the week before. From this thing. You're good? You're holding the couch down? Awesome. And this is the Baby Basics ruler right here. Turn it right side up. And so I've made a 4-patch of blocks from this. Whoops. And don't really have anything that I want to use them for right now. So I've got the Quilted Hearts project. Stephanie at Memoirs of a Long Arm Quilter did it a couple of weeks ago, along with Angel from Halo. And I thought, yep, that's a good place to use those because I've been wanting to make some of those. So do we want to jump right into that or do we want to talk about the 1,000 subs first? Because I can kind of go either way. I got 1,000 subs last night. Right after I got 1,000 subs, I had 14 people unsubscribe. And a couple of my friends had the same thing happen. So I'm kind of like, okay, what was all that? There's something on my screen. And so I'm back below, but I had already filled out the paperwork to apply for Google AdSense and all of that before it happened. I'm gonna go find that phone and turn it off. Oh, are you gonna get it? Anyway, so I'd already filled out all the paperwork. And when I went back in to look, all that paperwork is still processing. I guess it's not uncommon for things like that to happen. So I wasn't really upset. I'm not real upset about it. Kind of funny, kind of puzzling. It was like, really? Okay. And so I'm like, yay. So we're moving. You're in lazy mode, Gay? Oh, I'm not quite sure I know what lazy mode is. Thank you, Gay. I appreciate it. So I am at 1,000. I've got to get back over it, which should happen sometime this week, if nothing else. But it's kind of funny because I was laughing with Colleen last night when it happened. I said, only you would make a prediction and have it come true, because she predicted that it would happen on Sunday. And for all intents and purposes, it did. So yay. So how are you guys all doing today? Gaze in lazy mode. Sherlock's holding down the couch. And all I'm doing is cutting strips of fabric. Hello, Lynn. How are you today? Good evening. What? No, that was Victor Price. Yesterday I kept saying, oh my, like Sulu does on Star Trek. And I was like, yeah, that's too funny. So what I'm using to make my quilted hearts, I went looking for the printed paper pattern. Let me say that 3 times fast. That Angel and Stephanie were working from at Moore's Belong Art Quilter, and I couldn't find it. So I made myself one. I love these little pieces of cardboard from, this is from a charm pack that I opened up for something. And of course, I'd already drawn on the back of it. So I turned it over and I drew a heart and cut it out. You're home till Thursday. Awesome. And so what I did was I laid my little heart pattern on top of, it's an old washcloth that I'm using. It's an old piece of terry cloth. You can use batting or whatever, but these aren't quilts. So I don't really think that they need batting. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to go ahead and turn this so it's at a little bit of an angle, because I like the way that looks. And then I'm going to sew the strips on there to make my little, backup heart piece. Once I have the strips all sewn on, then I'll use this to measure it out and put a backing piece on it so I can just turn it over. I like the way it looks whenever you turn it over and enclose that edge. Hi, Nancy. Rather than trying to put binding around it or pinking the edges. I don't think the pinked edges are going to hold up very well. So I thought I would do it with a flipped heart so that it'll work. And I didn't have a piece of ribbon to put in there, but I have printed out the tags. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to use put a little hole in the end of the tag and use a safety pin to hold the tag, and also as the hanger for the heart. So if whoever finds it wants to keep the safety pin on there, they can, and they can hang it up with that, or however they want to use it, because these are supposed to be anonymous and they're for the recipient. They're not necessarily for us. But the reason I chose, let me get this up here. The reason I chose that blue is there's a little bit of that blue like in some of that batik. So I think it'll look really pretty. And Nancy, you said something this morning. I just caught the end of it. Hey, Marie, about answered prayers. Does that mean that hubby's in remission or getting better? I mean, I hope. Yes, Marie, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Nightbot is on for me today. And if you have had anything to do with the I Found a Quilted Heart project, they have a website and a Facebook page. And I was on, I subscribed to both back when Stephanie and Angel did this a couple of weeks ago. But it's really interesting to read the stories that people put up about having found these hearts. And they, I was like, oh yeah, making a little heart and hanging it up is kind of for me, not for you. Oh, that's a horrible thing, Gina. I mean, Nancy, my friend Gina was diagnosed with it yesterday. It's her 4th or 5th time, but she's also a traveling, visiting nurse. I guess she doesn't like travel around the country, but she goes into people's homes, especially people who are in vulnerable populations, the elderly, the bedridden, the housebound, that kind of stuff. And she has a lot of addicts, I guess, as patients, who aren't necessarily clean, and don't necessarily stick to the rules. So yeah, she's had it like 4 or 5 times, and she's trying to get pregnant via IVF. So she's really having fun. Oh, I hope so, Nancy. I hope it's good news. I really do. Um, just you're definitely in my prayers. I light candles as part of my prayer ritual. I don't know what else to call it for you guys. Um, I do believe in God and all that. That's not the thing. I just think that the candle gives it some oomph. I think my mom was born and raised Catholic, so that kind of influences me, if that makes any sense to anybody. I was trying to explain it, I don't call myself Christian because every time I've met somebody who calls themselves Christian or makes a huge deal about it, 97% of the time they turn out to be somebody I should have avoided. So, and I'm not dissing anybody here. Stephanie is Memoirs of Long Arm Quilter. She is, as she says, saved to the bone. And 100% I feel that from her. Colleen's the same. But it's the people who like the head with it that kind of make me go, what's wrong with you? So I'm going to move us over to the sewing machine and kind of blah, 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 and show you guys as I'm sewing what I'm doing here. Okay, and if you are like me and get seasick, be careful. But I do pray for people, and I have a candle that I always light. It just seems to make me focus more. I don't want that short stitch length though. That's like a 2. I don't think this needs that. You guys all see that okay? Wee, Sherlock says, hello, Miss Sylvia. How are you today? Sylvia. I'm sure she hates it when I sing to her because I'm not a very good singer. Oh, this is cool. I have this over here that's a leftover edge from my tumbling blocks quilt. I'm gonna take that and use it in here. That'd be cute, right? I don't know if she hates it when I sing to her. I just assume. I'm not a singer. Not very good at that. Although I do love it when I go into mom and pops and mom sings to everybody. That is just so much fun. Hello, Agnes. How are you today? And then I'm just gonna, I don't cut it before I fold it back over, but I'm gonna cut it now that I've folded it. I know it's a little long, but that's okay. I can live with that. And then let's see. Since I'm gonna be covered in fuzz, since I did my Jenny Doan rip. Hey, Tracy again. You're happy with my singing? Okay, so yeah. Since I've got a little bit of red there, I'm gonna put some red up here at the top. And I know that I'm basically sewing outside of the patterned area, but I want to make sure it's covered. Then we'll just fold it back. I've been playing with camera angles. I got an arm that's supposed to hold my phone, and I was trying to put it on there right before I came on, but it wasn't being very cooperative. So you guys will have to wait for the extra camera angle via Zoom until the next live. I don't know why I backstitched there. It's not going to make a difference in the finished product, right? Have it. Oh, Sylvia, I'm sorry. Sounds like a good day to take some pain medicine and rest a bit. Okay, so there's my little piece of terry with everything sewn on it. I've got it covered completely on the top. And then I'm going to lay this down here and just kind of look and see which direction I want it to go. I almost could have left all the extra pieces off, couldn't I? That's okay. I'm going to cover it with another piece of fabric. And I think it's big enough. Sylvia does do a lot of sewing. And she's very, 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 very good at it. Good, Sylvia. I'm glad you're resting in bed. I'm going to improvise here. My fabric isn't quite wide enough, so I'm going to take an edge off the other side. It's a quilted heart, right? So it's supposed to be patchworky and piecey. I'll sew it down so I get a little bit of a wider piece there. And then I'll lay my fabric down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my pattern on here. And I'm paying more attention to the terry cloth than anything else. I know that Stephanie and Angel did theirs really formal and pretty and all that. But I'm kind of a fly by the seat of my pants person, if that makes sense. You guys want to see what I'm doing though. Let's see, get you around here a little bit more. And all I'm doing is I'm taking a pencil because I don't have a friction pen handy. And you could use a pen for this, an ink pen, because this is not going to be seen. But I'm just using a pencil and I'm drawing my heart around here. And the pencil also lets me know if I have veered off of the terry cloth at all. And I had a little bit there. So I'm just redrawing my line. And then I'm going to stitch. Thank you, Marie. Oh, Sylvia, that's horrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here on one side of my heart, kind of where it would be straight or where it is straight. And I'm going to leave a gap. So I am going to backspace here. Let's get you guys back around to where you can see the sewing. I'm using blue thread, so hopefully that's showing for you guys. And for those of you that were watching a couple of weeks ago, when my Juki was giving me fits about not wanting to stitch, we figured out what the problem was. Well, it was two things actually. One was that the cutter, the thread cutter, kept being activated. I'm backing up a couple of stitches there because I don't want that to rip when I turn that little angle out. And the other was operator error, which you guys probably already figured out. And that pencil line is kind of faint right there. With, thank you, Colleen. Hello, Colleen. With the Juki, you kind of have to be a little sensitive to the foot, or the foot is a little sensitive, and it requires you to put your personal foot specifically on it in order to sew. And I don't know, I guess I hadn't used it in a minute or two because for some reason I forgot how to do that day. And for those of you that know, let me take that off there because that's just not wanting to cut. I have a birth defect that affects fine motor skills. So when I was a kid, it affected me by, I didn't learn how to tie my shoes until I was 13. Because that was just one of those skills that didn't work for me. And I had a hard time with left and right. As in, I thought left and right switched every time you turned around, kind of like north and south too. So those were the things I had a hard time with. I had a teacher named Mrs. Welch who was awesome. And although I was smart in a lot of other ways, those were the I can still remember her sitting down with me during school lunch and explaining north, south, left, and right to me. Now, you guys may be able to see what I did there. I kind of overshot my stitching. So I'm just going to go right back in here to this heart and I'm going to fix it. And guess who's going to know that I messed that up? Nobody. Well, except, you know, everybody watching this. All right, so now I have trimmed it around. Mostly, I need to go over here and do just a hair more. Because I don't want really thick seams at the edges. And I left it open right over here on this somewhat straight side. And I'm going to turn this inside out. Oh, you'll get the links. I think, well, hello, Julie. How are you? The only message that you're supposed to leave, Lynn, is the one that comes from I Found a Quilted Heart. And it basically gives them a link to the website where they can go in and post about where they found it. And the I Found a Quilted Heart website, I found a Quilted Heart website. It says specifically don't leave Bible messages or extra stuff on them. You can embellish anything you want, of course. I've got to turn that right back out. Oh, I'm sorry. Some days mine really bother me and I get it. I've got an edge that didn't seal, so I'm going to turn this right back out and fix that edge. I do have a chopstick handy, but anyway, the rules for this say you're not supposed to embellish them. And if you do embellish them, because of course they can't make you not do it, the penalty, for what it's worth, is that they won't publish, if your heart is found, they won't publish it on the website or the Facebook page. So I'd say that's kind of up to you. Almost stuck my finger in there like a dingbat. So I would say that if you're committed to the idea that you want to embellish it with hearts or buttons or Bible verses or crosses or whatever it is that you would like to put on there, you can do that. Just know that if it does get found and somebody says, oh, I found a heart, it won't get published. Although, you know, you're not doing this for recognition anyway, for the most part, I would say. See, and I still missed that same little spot. I'm going to fix it with the outside stitching. See my little gap right there? It's not focusing well. But for me, I think that the terry works better than padding, than quilt wadding or quilt batting, whatever you call it. And I'm just going to flatten it out as best I can here. And see, I almost could have left all the strips off the outside edge. Almost none of them show. So I'm going to start stitching right here on this side where I left the opening at. And I'm just going to go right down around. And because I've got double layer of terry cloth in there, I'm making my stitch length a little bit longer. The Juki can handle that with no problem. I don't know about everybody else's machines or domestics. Mine does it fine. And you can, if you want to, after all this is done, go across here and do any other quilting that you want to do. My little curve didn't turn out all the way, so I'm giving it a little bit of love there with the pen. See, like I think that it would be cool to do some stitching across the top. So I'm gonna do that just along what would have been the straight lines in my quilt blocks. Okay, Marie, that's fine. That's what it's here for. It's for us all just kind of to get together and do our thing together. Right. Yeah. That's actually allowed, Sylvia. That's one of the things that I did see. It's not required for you to put it in anything to keep it out of the elements. They say it's nice, but it's not required. And I did see pictures of some of them that looked like the piece of paper was just pinned onto it, like with a glass head pin. And I thought that was cool looking too. I'm not doing lots of quilting on mine, just a little here and there. And you can see where I've stitched. Let's see if it'll. I had the worst time with this. So yeah, that's my little heart. Hi, Faith, how are you? But I printed out, I went to the Quilted Heart website, and of course, all those little pieces, all this stuff that I cut off can be reused for other quilts or other hearts. So it's not a waste by any means. I'm covered in terry cloth now. I'm going to bring you guys back up. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to bring you back up. So I'm going to cover the camera and bring it back up to my face. There we go. And, you know, Esmeralda, I washed her right before I came online. So this is the one I made earlier, and that's a wee bit bigger. And then this is the one I just made. Not a huge difference. They're supposed to be, I think that they want about the size of the palm of an adult's hand. So that one's actually a little bit big. And then you know, closer to the size they want. But I have seen some that have been done around my area and left, and I think, I don't know, there's 50 tags on a sheet, or 25 tags. So I'm thinking I'd like to do at least as many tags as I have, because I'm going to laminate them, and then maybe I'll give them to my grandkids and ask them to put them in places. Yeah. Oh yeah. He's my cousin, but he's the same age as my kids, so I've always called him my nephew. Their kids, hi Susan, thank you. Their kids have been doing the painted rocks where they paint things on them. Turtles and rainbows and sunshines and have a great day, that kind of stuff. So I think those are cute. But like I said, I couldn't find the pattern on the website, so I just made my own. Hi Shirley. Thank you, Lynn. They would be, Sylvia. I don't know if our hospitals would let you bring that in with the COVID stuff. I know that they quit accepting crocheted and quilted blankets during COVID at the hospital that does have a NICU, because of the risk of carrying COVID to one of the kids. And I know that whenever I sent masks and scrub caps to my girlfriend, it is, I found a quiltedheart.com. And I'm betting that, yeah, I didn't find the pattern on the site. I went and downloaded a heart pattern somewhere else. I don't even remember where I found it at. And then I was looking at that one and I thought, I'm just going to draw my own heart. I mean, how hard is that? These are both freehand hearts. They just need to be, you know, somewhat close to the right size. There's Sylvia. Yes, thank you, ma'am. Here I am trying to put Colleen to work. She's probably actually resting. She's been driving. Her back is driving her crazy today. Yeah, so I found a quiltedheart.com, and then I found a Quilted Heart has a Facebook page, Nancy. And there may be a pattern on the Facebook page, but I didn't spend a lot of time on their Facebook page either. I went on the Facebook page, I did a search for heart pattern. I didn't find it there, so I just went ahead and used the other. You're lurking. You can lurk, you're allowed. You could lurk on my chats anytime. You know that. And then if you wanted to do, like I used, I'm not doing anything for the Fat Quarter Shop. Sorry. I don't have any of their patterns right now. I'm actually working on designing one of my own. You don't have to use little quilt blocks for this. You could easily take your piece of fabric that's the right size. You know, this one's 6 by 6, but it gets cut down to a 5 by 5. And you could just do strip piecing across this, you know, put a piece in the middle and put some around it. You could do that very easily. It wouldn't hurt anything to do it that way. And it's a great scrap buster. You could probably make 25 or 50 of these out of what you've got sitting in your scrap bin next to your sewing machine. And yeah, Lynn, any heart template that you have is great. You don't want to make them huge because you want somebody to be able to carry it around or whatever. I mean, I've seen people say that they've put them on their mantles, that they've put them in their purse, so it's something they can touch whenever, you know, they're feeling anxious about stuff. You never know what purpose it's gonna serve for somebody. Maybe it'll be, I have a girlfriend who since her grandmother died, she's been finding dimes in weird places. She'll open the trunk of her car and there's a dime, or she's putting groceries in the trunk and she'll see a dime laying on the ground. And she kind of feels like that's her grandma talking to her. So I'm kind of thinking these might be, well, not even thinking it, I see them as having a similar purpose in people's lives. You know what I mean? Yeah. I, well, I just gave Sherlock fits watching me cut, but I'm not really big on using pinking shears if I can help it, because they're hard for my hands, but I may try it on some of them. You never can tell. But you could do this, and that would mean you could put your backing on first, Sylvia, and then just do the pinking shears around it. I hadn't thought about that. Might save some hand problems. I'll have to think about that because I'm going to make a bunch. But you could use scraps for this. And the people that I've seen the testimonials from, yeah, the people I've seen testimonials from, everything from I just lost my husband and this absolutely came at the right time, that kind of thing. You know, and you could make these in bulk. You could make these in bulk very easily. If you're like me and you just sit and sew scrappy stuff together for things to do or to use your scraps, you could put your scraps across a larger piece of batting and then put a piece of backing on the back and then draw your hearts on either the front or the back, sew around them and then cut them out. Right, Nancy, exactly. My mom's buried near, well, actually, she's less than 5 minutes from my house. Okay. That's an idea, Lynn. Anyway, my mom's buried less than 5 minutes from my house, which we did not know when we bought this house. Okay. So talk about karma and serendipity working out. But when we went to bury her there, she had picked her spot. And we crossed this bridge and it's like, watch out for vultures. I was like, really? Mom picked a cemetery that's near a vulture habitat kind of thing. And now we live near that vulture habitat. Don't think I'm picking on my mom for that. But it is interesting because that's the bird I see most often out here is vultures. And there's probably a good reason for it because most of the land around here is cattle land. So I'm sure the vultures stay busy. Plenty to eat. How's that? Last night we were sitting here and hubby and I heard sounded like a pack of dogs shipping. Yeah, it turned out to be coyotes. He went outside and they sounded like they were, and in the country, sound travels a long way. But it sounded like they were literally across the street from the house. And we have cattle too. Don't have a big herd, just a few, but so he took a whole bunch of shots into the ground to scare them off because he couldn't see where they were. And then he had to text all the neighbors because we got a text from one neighbor saying, what was all the gunshots? Because that's how we do things out here. So then we texted the rest of them and said, oh, by the way, we have, we just scared off some coyotes because we sure weren't shooting them. And we have a donkey in with our cows to help protect them. But the farm behind us that has expensive cattle, they have $30,000 cows that cost $30,000 to buy the babies kind of thing. It's Angus beef if you got, or not Angus, Wagyu. I have to think of that name every time. Anyway, so they have or had a sharp. Do they still have a sharpshooter working out there? Only occasionally. Yeah. Yeah, sparrowhawks are beautiful. Vultures are ugly, but they do work. They do their job, and they are a necessity. So kind of like raccoons and stuff, you know. Kind of gotta have them, even if you don't want them. And what I just did was I took one of those tumbler shapes I had cut and sewed the end of it together and then cut it in half the long way so I can put it down on the next heart that I make, and it'll stretch all the way across. It is very expensive. It comes out to like $30 or $40 a pound from what I understand. It's or maybe more than that. I think maybe it was my husband who told me that they sell it for $300 or $400 a pound in Japan. But they sell everything for crazy prices in Japan. I understand that oranges in Japan are like $10, $12 a pound, and they cook and eat oranges, including the skins. So I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to live in Japan. And we, you know, go down the street and pull some off the tree and juice it. It's so good. It is so good. But that is one nice thing about living in Florida. You made 10 in about an hour, Sylvia? That's very cool. Of course, Sylvia is faster than everybody. Oops. I wanted to try what you said you did. Do that. So you just literally sew yours on there, huh? Because what I'm going to do is I've got this little piece of the tumbler thing left, and I'm just going to sew another piece on the bottom to make it wider. So both sides will be quilted. I thought I should probably have a project today, though, because, you know, I usually have a really short one, and then we all end up chit-chatting forever. Which I don't mind. Oh, they might have been, Sylvia. It's not uncommon. The orange trees also have the orange trees also are sensitive to cold. So if it freezes, we have shorter orange harvests. And what I did was I put that piece on the back of the terry cloth. And then if I do the quilt as you go, then I can just cut it out with scissors like Sylvia's talking about. You have to piece white on white fabric for your border on the quilt. Marie, I have done it both ways. There's advantages and disadvantages, in my opinion. The advantage is that you don't waste as much fabric. The disadvantage is that it might, if you sew it straight, you might get a separation there, or a place where it wears out faster. So the diagonal probably would be better in the long run for the lasting part of the quilt. That makes sense. Everybody's saying they always use diagonal seams, so I think that's a good answer. So yeah, I would probably use diagonals. Lynn, unless your house is tropical temperatures, I doubt it would be too warm. Yeah. Diagonals are always nice, Marie. And all I'm doing right now is piecing scraps to put on this next little heart thing, because I'm going to try it the way Sylvia was talking about. Is that what you had thought you were going to do anyway, Marie? Yeah, and they probably make stronger seams. I mean, seriously. So what I've got is I have one. I'm bringing you back down to the sewing machine. You guys can watch what I'm doing rather than me picking it up and showing you. How's that? Because I'm not keeping up with chat very well anyway. That's why I appreciate my moderators so much. Colleen and Steph and Lori. I don't see Lori today, but I didn't catch her chat earlier either. I don't even know if she did a live. I looked, but I didn't see one. See, and that piece basically covered the whole thing in a hurry, so I'm going to do some chopping. I think it must be operator error here on these scissors today. So lay that one over. I'll put something different over there. But I could take this piece, not quite long enough. See, I told you I would use all that other stuff that I made. Y'all like my Jenny Rip? I love Jenny Doan. I think she was the first YouTube culture that I saw who did like was really real. Everybody's, oh, you should use your scissors and your seam ripper and all of that stuff. And I'm sitting here going, I didn't see a live from Lori either. Okay. I don't feel so bad now because I felt bad. I was like, did I miss it? Did I not go? What happened? Let's see. I'm not real worried if this is wonky. Is that a technical term? Wonky? If I were doing a quote unquote real quilt, I might be more concerned if I had that much overhang at a seam. Yeah. The Jenny Rip is interesting, isn't it? And I always kind of wonder because what is her name? The daughter-in-law, Misty, right? Is that the daughter-in-law's name? Or the daughter? And the young one, the one that's the young blonde chick. She doesn't strike me as the fly by the seat of your pants type when it comes to sewing, as much as Jenny and Natalie do. And I always wonder what she thinks about all this crazy. Like my little seam ripper. This thing is so handy. Misty, yeah. I keep wanting to call her Missy, and I know that's not right. And this thing is, in my opinion, even handier than having a seam ripper. Yeah, the blonde. Anyway, she doesn't quite seem as laid back and la-di-da as the other girls. She might be. I can't imagine that, Jenny's son married somebody who wasn't a whole lot like mommy. My brother married a lady, well, not married, but his long-term girlfriend is very much like my mother was as far as personality. Yeah, I want to put the right side down, right, guys? I cut that in half so that I can put a little piece on each side. Hello, Math Geek. How are you today? You finally get to join a live again. Did work finally give you a breathing minute? I think you told me you were going to be busy with work for a while. You came back just in time. And see, that edge right there is what was giving me a hard time earlier when I was trying to turn it. Move this. I did something. I'll show you guys if I can show it before we get off the live in just a few minutes. Oh yeah, that looks really cool. And I've got it covered. Let's see if I've got it covered enough. I do. So now I take either my pencil or my friction pen. Where's my pencil? That'll be the only bad thing, is that your little pencil line would show. But I guess if I make it light enough, it won't show much, right? Because I'll stitch right on top of it this way. And then pink around the outside of it. And I'm not trying to make the pencil line really dark, just dark enough for me to see to sew it. There's one nice thing about pencil. I mean, it's what I grew up using, was pencil to mark on fabric, because it does mostly wash out unless you're using it on white. And they didn't have friction pens and stuff when I grew up. A quick vacation. Woohoo! That's nice. The other good thing is I don't have to worry about where I start, so I can start there. Did you go anywhere fun, Math Geek? You know, did you get to go to Hawaii or go run with the bulls? Is it in Spain? Speaking of, here's my geek thing. Have a good day. Oh, he was a smart guy, Nancy. One of my employees was at my house one time, and her husband stopped by to bring her money or pick up money. I don't remember. But he asked if he could use the bathroom. And I was like, well, of course you can. So he walked through the house, and I had collards cooking on the kitchen stove. Sorry for you people in the UK, you probably don't know what collard greens are. I don't know if they grow over there. But I had collards cooking on the stove, and he helped himself to a little bowl of them. And he comes out and he says, who cooked them collard greens for you? I was like, I did. He said, no way. I'm not trimming this really close because I do want to pink it, but I kind of want to show you guys what it looks like. But he's like, no, you didn't cook them collard greens. They're good. I was like, well, of course they're good. So he went back to his job bragging that he met a white woman that could cook collard greens. I was like, really? The only difference between soul food and hillbilly food is who cooked it, because it is almost all the same food. right, so it will be pinked. But that actually is a little bit quicker, huh? You've never had collard greens? Collard greens are, I think they're more like kale, but they are greens. They're, I've cooked kale in place of collard greens before. Um, Bringing you back up to me, guys. Sorry. Collard greens are, they're like turnip or mustard greens. And you cook them usually with meat. Like, I usually do a clean out the refrigerator meal. You usually put sausage. Hello, Tracy. Usually put sausage and butter and lots of pepper and salt. And I don't even know how to describe them. It's almost like stewed down greens. But I mean, you can buy enough collard greens to fill your bathtub when you wash them. And then when you cook them, they'll cook down to about this much in a pot. Walmart has collard greens in a can, Colleen. Get the little one, maybe try them. They're not authentic. Yeah, any kind of meat. Well, I usually cook mine in broth. And I have put leftover chicken, pork, beef, everything. Yeah, fat back, whatever you've got meat-wise. But pork is a big requirement. Pork is what? Yeah. Pork is like the number one flavor. All right, so we got this one and this one that I made the regular way, and then this one that's going to get pinking shears used on the outside edge. But I think they all came out cute. And like I said, you could pin ribbon to them. You could sew ribbon in if you wanted to. Yeah, drain the can and then heat them up. I don't even know. Yeah, any kind of greens. But collard greens have their own taste. I love collard greens. I'm not big on mustard greens or turnip greens, but I love good collard greens, especially if it's been cooked with ham or pork in it. Thank you, Math Geek. So, and that, like I said, that's just 3. And I made 3 of those in no time, basically. All right, so you guys want to see what I did? Because it's been almost an hour and I want to kind of share. I'm going to move the camera again because, you know, I'm a terrible person that way. This is why I was trying to hook up the other camera. See that? I am so proud of that. That is my bookcase. Now, all the books that were in it are sitting down here because I got to move them into my sewing room, but I have a bookcase for them. But I organized all that stuff that you need that I need right by my sewing area and my filming area. I've got my quilt builder card boxes there. Thank you, Tracy. And I've got drawers for little tools that I use all the time. And did I put it away? Yep, I did put it away. Seam ripper. My YouTube lipsticks in there. I found my laminator, folks. And then I've got charging cables and pieces to help me film. Pain. I always have my pain medicine sitting here. And I always feel kind of like somebody took a picture and sent it to me. Donna did way back when I was first doing up close videos of the pill bottle that I was using to draw circles. And she had blown it up enough that she could read the name of the prescription, the whole 9 yards. And I thought, I don't like having that stuff sitting out there. I love it. I think it's so much neater. And I've got right here, I've got the basics little things, my ruler holder, and then there's my measuring tape and some little like oil for my sewing machines, but everything's put away. Now I've got to run this baby. And this I got from Amazon. It is a label maker. And I've got to sit here and make labels for all my drawers. But by the time I got it all organized yesterday, I wasn't interested in making labels. Moving you one more time. You're waiting on backing fabric? Let's get you straight so I don't look crooked. I always look crooked. I have just thread everywhere. I need to bring a lint roller in here. Thank you. I've had those little drawer units though in my Amazon cart for 6 months or something. They are 50 going up to 70 to get the 6 of them together, and they're no cheaper at Walmart. Walmart wants $14 or $15 a piece, but they came down to $27 for all 6, and I bought them. This is the only thing I haven't put in my drawer yet because I need to take it into the other room and get the YouTube stuff downloaded onto here. Yes, the label maker is so much fun. You get to download an app onto your phone. And if you, like me, I have hair caught in my earring. If you're like me and you have an Android phone, it requires that you enable location tracking for this app. iPhone doesn't require that. So I'm trying to figure out if there's a way to get around having to let Google have my location in order to use the app. But it was really easy to use. I printed the label off of it in like 3 minutes after I got my hands on it. And you get 300 feet of label at 12 millimeters of label. I probably won't need to buy label material for quite some time. And the label maker does not fit in a drawer, or it would already have one. Well, I can paint them too. I just couple hours maybe. I was like, yay. I always buy white. And Tracy at Craft a Simple Life, if I didn't say thank you, thank you. You should be a proud mama, Sylvia. All right, so does anybody have questions about hearts? And do we need to share any links, Colleen? I think you've got everybody, but just making sure. Oh, and one thing more, you guys may have seen that Sassy Steph is planning to take a bit of a break because of health. We're still going to share Sassy's link until she either comes back or decides for sure that she's not going to. She has a lot of information on her channel that is handy and useful for anybody who long arms or free motion quilts. And in my opinion, I think it's still a valuable resource. Thank you, Nancy. So I'm going to share it up until she says don't share it. Does that make sense? And yeah, there's Tracy. You should be a proud mama, Sylvia. She's done an amazing job with that quilt. Oh, okay. I can do this. I think I've got her in a Sassy. Yeah, and yours is Colleen and Sylvia. And I think that's everybody. I don't think I have to put the PSA in there because I think everybody here has been here for that before. Oh, I think Tracy's in there too. It's just Tracy. Tracy at Craft a Simple Life. Yep. I'm praying for Sassy. She did share that she just got another diagnosis. So she has the triple whammy, apparently. And we want her to get better. We're definitely praying for her. Yeah. And Tracy A is my cheerleader. I think just straight Tracy is Craft a Simple Life. Yeah. She my girl. So she's going to try to do some recovering. They're changing her beds, I think. And all of this is in her video. I'm not sharing anything that's, yeah, I'm not sharing anything that's not already public knowledge by her. I think that should be Tracy at Craft a Simple Life. There we go. And the same for her, Tracy at Craft a Simple Life. She had major surgery earlier in the year and she's still recovering, but we're sharing her channel in case she does decide to come back. We want to make sure that she's still got subscribers. So, all right, I don't see any questions from anybody about the hearts, but this is what we made. This one's, let's see, I made this one off camera, and I made this one on camera with one of my little basics blocks. And then this one, I'm going to take a pair of pinking shears too. And thank you, Sylvia, for that idea, because if the pinking shears don't hurt my hands too bad, that will be easier than turning it out. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a hopeless gossip. Yeah, sorry. I don't intend to be, but I am concerned about my friends. I want to make sure that if I can help, I do, and that you guys are all okay. Tracy, whatever you decide is fine. And if you decide that you're not, just let me know. I will take it. But, you know, for now, I'm leaving you in there. Unless, you know, unless you tell me otherwise. So that's where I'm at on this. And if you do, I will be. I have never tried a pinking a pinking rotary blade, and I don't know if they make one for the Martelli Math Geek. But I have a hard time with the regular rotary cutter. I have this one here. This is a little, and I have a hard time gripping that to be able to cut. I could do it a little bit here and there, but it's not my favorite position to try to cut in because it hurts me right along here. So I use this one for paper. They do make pinking rotary blades. Like I said, I don't know if they make them for the Martelli, but they do make them, Sylvia. We still love her. We still support her, back her up 1,000%. Don't anybody get that impression. But Olfa makes a pinking rotary blade. Yeah. All right, guys, you all have a great day. I appreciate you coming. Thank you for watching and for watching me stumble through making these hearts. If you make some, please share pictures either on Facebook or send me a message and let me know you made some. But I'm looking forward to it. Nancy, we're definitely praying for you. Oh, I'm sorry, Math Geek. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye. I love you.